everyone, it's Alice here from Top Mark Science, and today we're going to be looking at animal and plant cells. Throughout this video, we will be exploring the following AQA specification points: how the main subcellular structures are related to their functions, similarities in plant and animal cell structure, and differences in plant and animal cell structure. Let's get started. There are many things around us that are living, from domesticated animals to wild animals, bees to fish, insects to mammals. And you. You are a living body that has taken millions of years of evolution. Millions of years of evolution that has led to a variety of systems that work together to help you function. A few examples include your skeletal system, your nervous system, and your circulatory system. There are more too, which we won't go into today, but this collection of organ systems are working together to form you, an organism. Let's look at one of these organs more closely, like your heart. Your heart is an organ. It's made of muscle tissue. When we examine this tissue really closely, we see these tiny little units which all work together to ensure the organ functions correctly. These small things are called cells. Cells are the basic unit of all forms of life. They make up all the living things around us, our building blocks, like Lego pieces coming together to form larger, more complex structures. Take these organisms, for example. We have a giraffe feeding on a tree on the plains of Africa. Both are living things, so therefore they are both made of cells. Pause the video here to either discuss or write down some ideas of how a giraffe and a tree might be the same or different, because these will explain some key concepts later on in this video. Well, both animals and plants do have some similarities. For example, they may have some similar functions, like growth. A giraffe needs to grow so that it can be healthy enough to adapt to a changing environment and successfully reproduce. A tree needs to grow so that it can outcompete other trees for sunlight. But they're not completely the same. A difference might be in the way that they get their food for this growth. The giraffe relies on finding vegetation that it can feed on externally, whereas a tree can make its own food through photosynthesis. Therefore, the cellular makeup for the tree is going to be different to the giraffe, which cannot do photosynthesis. Pause the video here and have a look at the diagrams of the cells. See if you can spot the difference and the same things between the two. Try and find as many as you can, and if you finish, try the challenge. Let's see what we found then. We will start with the similarities between the two diagrams. Firstly, both cells have this big blob here. This is an important blob called the nucleus, a vital structure that contains genetic material called DNA. They also have these folds covered in small dots. These small dots are called the ribosomes, an important site that makes proteins, a process called protein synthesis. Next, they both have these wiggly looking structures. These are the mitochondria, which are responsible for transferring energy for growth by a process called respiration. Both cells have what is shown by a black solid line around the cell. This is the cell membrane, which controls the entry and exit of substances in and out of the cell. Both have what is represented by a pale background. This is the cytoplasm, a jelly-like medium which the subcellular structures float in and a site of chemical reactions within the cell. Now moving on to the differences. You might have spotted some additional features on one of the cells, like this barrier here. This is the cell wall, which is not present on this cell. The cell wall is there to strengthen and support the cell, preventing it from bursting if lots of water enters. It's made of cellulose. The cell on the right also has this large structure inside called the vacuole, also not present in the other cell. This is a permanent vacuole, a structure filled with a watery fluid called sap. There are also some additional green features which do actually look green under a microscope. The rest of the colours are just for design purposes. These green spots are the chloroplast, the site of photosynthesis, which helps us to answer the challenge question, which is the cell on the left is an animal cell and the cell on the right is a plant cell. We know this because plant cells have a cell wall, chloroplasts, and a vacuole. Animal cells do not have these structures. This is a common exam question in paper 1. We've gone through a whole list of names of structures across both cells. All of these structures have a name. These are the organelles. They are subcellular structures inside a cell. Pause the video here and take the time to draw and label the animal and plant cells. Make sure your labelling lines clearly join up to the organelle you are labelling. If you need a bit of extra help, you can replay the video and label your diagrams as you go. And if you finish, try the challenge. Time to go through some answers. Mark your work as you go so you have some correct answers that you can save for revision. Answers for labels are now displayed on the screen. You might find it useful to pause the video again so you have enough time. The challenge question was an exam style question to apply what you have just learned. A student observes 2 cells under a microscope. They spot a round cell with lots of green spots. State and explain what type of cell they have found. This is worth 2 marks, which means we need to say 2 things. So first of all, we state the type of cell, in which case it is a plant cell. And to explain, we need to say the word because. It is a plant cell because they saw chloroplasts, the green spots. Let's have a go now at engraining the functions of each organelle. Copy and complete the table shown. The bullet points on the right are there to help you fill the table in. If you finish, try the challenge. Let's go through the answers. There is no particular order to fill in the table, but I will be going from the top of the bullet points and filling in the table from there. So starting with the sap, this is the permanent vacuole. Chloroplasts are the site of photosynthesis. What contains DNA? This is the nucleus. The site of respiration is the mitochondria. The function of the cell wall is to strengthen and support the cell. The site of chemical reactions is the cytoplasm. Protein synthesis occurs in the ribosomes. And finally, the cell membrane controls what substances enter and exit the cell. Now, the challenge was made up of 2 parts. Part 1 was to highlight each row to show whether the organelle is exclusively found in animal cells, plant cells, or in both. So you will need 3 different colours, or feel free to label them as A for animal, P for plant, or B for both. And these are now colour-coded below. Notice how the organelles are either found in both or plants only. Animal cells do not have organelles only found in animal cells, as they share their organelles with plants. Also, side note, it was not intended for them all to be grouped together. Part 2 was an exam question to explain which organelle would be in a high concentration in a leaf cell. Worth 3 marks, so 3 points need to be made. So mark 1 would come from saying which organelle. In this case, it is the chloroplasts for 1 mark. The second mark would come from saying what importance the leaf's location is. Well, they're exposed to sunlight. And the final mark needs to link the organelle to the function, sunlight for photosynthesis. Let's finish up with some exam-style practice questions. Pause the video here and have a go at the 3 exam-style questions. Read the question carefully for instructions. Replay the video when you're ready. Time to go through the mark scheme then. Annotate your answers as we go. Question 1A was to name the structures A to C in the diagram, and they put spaces for you to write these in. A is the mitochondria, B is the nucleus, and C is the cell membrane. Notice how the word cell has brackets around it. This means the word cell is not required to get the mark. You can just write membrane. 1b, describe the role of structures A to C. A was the mitochondria, so therefore this is the site of respiration. B was the nucleus, which contains genetic information, or DNA. And C was the cell membrane. It controls what enters and exits the cell. And final part of question 1 is part C, to state what kind of cell this is and to give 2 reasons for your answer. 3 points need to be correct for 2 marks. So 1 mark comes from stating which cell it is, which is a plant cell. And the final mark needs 2 correct reasons, and that could be any 2, from containing a permanent vacuole, chloroplasts, or a cell wall. If you got the plant cell correct but only 1 reason correct, give yourself 1 mark. If you got the plant cell correct and both reasons right, give yourself 2 marks. Moving on to question 2, which says that cells in carrots are plant cells. Not all carrot cells contain chloroplasts. Part AI says to label the part of the carrot you think would contain chloroplasts. We know chloroplasts are the site of photosynthesis, which requires sunlight. Seeing that most of the carrot is underground, apart from the leafy green parts, it is this section that would contain lots of chloroplasts. Your arrow must clearly point and touch this section. Question 2, part AII. Describe and explain the difference in distribution of chloroplasts in a carrot for 3 marks, so 3 points. As briefly just mentioned, more chloroplasts in the leaves because they are exposed to sunlight for photosynthesis. If you got 3 marks for the vice versa, so less chloroplasts in the base because they are underground, not exposed to sunlight, so no or less photosynthesis occurs, would also get you 3 marks. And finally, question 3. A long answer for 6 marks asked you to compare and contrast animal and plant cells. This means to find similarities and differences. And now displayed is the mark scheme, which you can now go through and tick off any you meet the criteria for. Time for a few last questions on a light quick-fire quiz. Are you ready? Question 1. Name 2 key types of cells we have covered in this video. Animal and plant. Well done. Which structure do both of these cells have that contains genetic information? A nucleus. Question 3. What is the role of the cell membrane? To control the entry and exit of substances in and out of the cell. Question 4. What structure is missing from the list a plant cell has that animal cells do not? A cell wall, chloroplast, and a permanent vacuole. If you put vacuole, this is also correct. And final question number 5. True or false? Mitochondria are responsible for photosynthesis. This is false. They are responsible for respiration. Well done, everyone. Pause the video here to rate your progress on the following objectives to find areas of strengths and development. It will be useful for future revision. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. If you liked it and would like to see more from Top Mark Science, you can like this video, subscribe to this channel, and you can now find us on Facebook for more teaching and study tips and general science updates. The link will be below in the description. That's all for now. Thanks for coming, and I'll see you next time.